Graffiti is described as written textual drawings that have been illicitly placed on surfaces, often in a public place. It can range from simple words to elaborate paintings and has existed since ancient times.
I mean, graffiti is basically this. It's one, creating some kind of letter or message, right? Some kind of design. Two, getting the supplies. Three, getting the spot. Four, getting to the spot. Five, attempting it, pulling it off, and then coming back and documenting it. And that's it, you know?
Graffiti is considered to be a transgressive act and a form of vandalism to the creators and enforcers of normative value and social order. It is seen as a threat to property value and quality of community life, costing taxpayers billions of dollars on its removal and detracting away from the beauty of neighborhoods. It has become illegal because it implies the damaging of property without authorization. Graffiti pieces which are unattended are said to give off a visual impression of an indifferent and uncaring society. It is not widely accepted as art like the kind you see in galleries, with most of its opposition stemming from the often illegal location and its bold, unconventional presentation.
We do want color, we do want light, we do want artistic freedom, but not at the cost of damaging other people's property.
The etchings and the window scratching that really screws us up.
Okay.
Those glass windows are really expensive to replace, about $1,500, and for a small independent business like mine, that's a large chunk of our change.
It depends on where it's at, you know, if it's not defacing like property like this, or if it's out, you know, just on a blank wall or something like that, hey, that's fine, you know, but when you're defacing property like a booth or a train or something like that, that's you know, that's our money going back to clean that up.
However, for graffiti artists themselves, it is often seen as a means of self-expression, a way that they can make themselves be heard, or political outrage against an unjust and alienating economic order. It can be seen as an art form for the lower class to rise up for the reclamation of public space and denouncing of ownership. Graffiti is revolutionary, and any revolution might be considered a crime. People who are oppressed or suppressed need an outlet, so they write on walls, "It's free." Cohen's typology of vandalism identifies 6 categories, 3 of which can be applied to graffiti. He states that ideological vandalism is inspired by political and activist reasons, an example of which would be the Full Love campaign in Argentina, where students and citizens encourage contraceptive use for HIV/AIDS prevention by organizing a stencil graffiti campaign. Play vandalism is motivated through competition between vandals via tagging, where one would try to get their name recognized by writing in as many places as possible. Malicious vandalism expresses frustration and may have political intentions, and in terms of graffiti can be characterized by vocalizing frustrations about inequality.
Yo, like, there's graffiti here, it's got to be here for a reason, instead of saying, like, they must have, you know, problems or they must be a malicious person. They might actually look at the society and be like, you know, the way government and society is being controlled by, you know, capitalist big business is messed up and we should do something about it or whatever. Instead of like looking at the person doing graffiti, maybe they should look at the cause of why that person started, you know.
Barron and Fisher complement Cohen's typology, as they say when inequality is high and perceived control over the situation is low, people are more likely to engage in acts such as graffiti as they feel they are being treated unfairly and there's nothing they can do about it. Another reason why individuals turn to graffiti is the thrill of transgression. Deviance offers individuals the chance to overcome the mundane and conventional routines in everyday life, and crime can be viewed as stimulating, exciting, and liberating. Placing graffiti on public property gives a high of going against the system and committing an illegal act. People spend a great deal of time and effort in order to participate in activities that are dangerous, frightening, risky, and physiologically arousing. It is great fun trying to avoid getting caught and running away from police or others. Often, those involved in the graffiti scene will climb high structures and break into private or abandoned buildings to display their art. The thrill of participating in the act and the euphoria when individuals manage to pull it off is often a large reason why transgressive acts such as graffiti are committed.
They're not getting paid for it, you know, they're not getting any kind of like congratulations for it. They're just out there risking their life to paint something that like hopefully a few people might be able to appreciate, and that's it. And I think there's something to be said for that, you know. I think that's definitely something that's worth like taking note of.
Some graffiti artists see themselves as revolutionaries outside the normative art market. Graffiti is a kick in the face to the gallery museum system, where the artist is pimped like a whore for the capitalist system, made into another commodity. This art is free for all to come and view. No one can own it. It belongs to all of us. These days, the graffiti movement can be split into two separate groups, traditional graffiti and street art. Traditional graffiti is about tagging and destruction in a creative way and can be linked to gangs and the marking of territory. Street art, although difficult to define, has key characteristics. For both groups, anonymity is important, however graffiti often has a brand, whereas street art does not. The most important part of street art is the work itself and the message that it is conveying. Graffiti is also often universal and has a certain set of aesthetic properties and often looks the same whether it is in New York, London or Tokyo. Street art, however, is often reflective of where it is installed. Lewison also states that there are ideological differences between the two branches, with graffiti being militant or anarchistic and actively seeking to destroy property in a smash the system, smash the state mentality. Street artists, however, are often in dialogue with the city, with their art being in response to a situation that is occurring. In short, street art is a message-based movement that is local and non-exclusive, compared to rival gangs marking the territory. Street artists often attempt to inform people of social and political issues and has a strong element of activism and subversion, and although some individuals consider it to be an art, legally it is a crime and street artists can be charged with vandalism, intentional destruction of property, criminal trespass, malicious mischief, or antisocial behaviour.
Well, it comes down to, it is malicious mischief. The idea of destroying other people's property and the idea of defacing places in the city, I mean, it's first off, it's personal property most of the time that's being affected. But second of all, you have a situation where it looks bad. It looks like, people don't care about their property and so it is a problem and it is something that we are addressing.
The Antisocial Behaviour Act 2003 called for zero tolerance, issuing on-the-spot fines and banning aerosol paint sales to under 16-year-olds. A total of 123 MPs, including Tony Blair, the Prime Minister at the time, signed a charter which stated, "Graffiti is not art, it's crime. On behalf of my constituents, I would do all I can to rid our community of this problem."
Everybody has levels of respect. What do they respect? What are they not going to write on? I mean, for me, I have a certain amount of respect, but if I do choose to put my art somewhere, it's really kind of like, yeah, I know the consequences, so what? It's really because you just don't care.
However, many councils, for example Stroud in Gloucestershire, provide graffiti artists with approved places where they can showcase their talents. London can also be argued to be one of the most pro-graffiti cities in the world, and street art such as stick figures are embraced, although officially it is condemned and heavily enforced. Bristol also plays a large part in the scene, partly due to Banksy, but also in the form of advertising for shops or events. Banksy first surfaced in 1990 and has revolutionised the content and style of UK graffiti, as well as turning an illegal activity into art that is sought by the public. Although breaking the law by vandalising property, the media has made him into a worldwide celebrity, and he has a strong following despite his identity remaining unknown. His work is mainly political and activist, with messages based on anti-war, anti-capitalist and anti-establishment. His work is also often satirical, and commonly uses monkeys and rats as motives. Banksy himself characterised graffiti as revenge for the underclass and to remove power, territory and glory from the elite. Despite being well known for his work, Banksy has strong opposition for glorifying vandalism, and a lot of his work has been destroyed.
But I do it for myself, and I do it because I can, and I do it because I run this shit. This is my city, this is where I'm from, this is where I was born and raised, and it's kind of like my mark. This is where I crush.
Probably, in a lot of ways, it probably saved my life. Who knows what I would be doing if it weren't for graffiti.
I could be doing still lifes. I could be doing realist painting. I could just be doing graphic design behind a computer. But the artwork I do speaks to probably tens and thousands of other kids across both the United States, probably Europe.
It's just like on the way to work, I want to see a tag, it makes me, like me looking at me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm alive, I'm here, I'm fucking something, and I will be something. Why? Because I make myself something.
I mean, I no doubt still be doing art if I wasn't in graffiti, but graffiti gave me a voice, really gave me a voice.
I didn't realize this for a long time, but after I got older, it dawned on me that, I can walk up and write my message. I mean, all the other messages that we get are controlled by newspapers and radio and television and billboards and print ads and magazines and all these things, and they're all paid for. I could walk up for free and put my message out there, and as long as you're willing to get arrested for it and you have that mentality, you can write whatever you want and put any message you want. You know, graffiti is really the last true free speech.